What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today I'm going to be wrapping up Marvel Month as I discuss the nefarious 1986's Howard the Duck, starring Ed Gale, Leah Thompson, Tim Robbins, Jeffrey Jones, David Paymer, Liz Segal, Dominique Davalos, and Holly Robinson. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said during the introduction, we're going to close the book on Marvel Month and the films of the MCU and Marvel in general with the film that pretty much killed Marvel theatrical releases for 12 years until Blade came along, picked up the mantle, threw the company on its back, and just knocked a home run out of the park with the first film in the Blade series, allowing us to then have the X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Daredevil and Elektra for whatever they were worth, Hulk in 2003, all the way up until we began the MCU with Iron Man. None of that would have happened without Blade as a result of this film right here. Let's get into it here, shall we? Our film opens on Duck World, a planet that is similar to Earth but is inhabited by anthropomorphic ducks and orbited by twin moons. We meet Howard the Duck as he returns home from work. He sits in his easy chair and begins reading his newest issue of Play Duck magazine when his chair suddenly propels him out of his apartment building and into outer space. Howard eventually lands on Earth in Cleveland, Ohio, and upon his arrival, Howard encounters a woman being attacked by thugs, whom he defeats using a unique style of martial arts called Duck Fu. The woman introduces herself as Beverly Switzler and decides to take Howard to her apartment, letting him spend the night. The next day, Beverly takes Howard to Phil Blumbert, a scientist who Beverly hopes can help Howard to return to his own world. After Phil is revealed to only be a janitor, Howard resigns himself to life on Earth and rejects Beverly's aid as he feels she is using him as a charity case. He soon applies for a job as a janitor at a local romance spa, but eventually quits and returns to Beverly, who plays in a band called Cherry Bomb. At the club where Cherry Bomb is performing, Howard comes in contact with their manager, Ginger Moss, who is withholding money owed to the band as he attempts to score and get lucky with Beverly. Howard overhears all this and confronts Ginger, and a fight breaks out in which Howard wins thanks to his Duck Fu abilities. Howard rejoins Beverly backstage after the band's performance and accompanies her back to her apartment, where Beverly persuades him to be the band's new manager. The two begin to flirt and almost have sex, if we're being brutally honest here. But they are interrupted by Blumbert and two of his colleagues, who reveal that a laser spectroscope that they were inventing and working on was aimed at Howard's planet of Duck World and transported him to Earth when it was activated. They theorize that Howard can just possibly be sent back to his world through a reversal of the same process. But when they arrive at the laboratory, the laser spectroscope malfunctions upon activation, which raises the possibility of something else having been transported to Earth. Dr. Walter Jennings becomes possessed by a life form from a distant region of space. And when Jennings, Howard, and Beverly visit a diner, Jennings introduces himself as a dark overlord of the universe. He then demonstrates his developing mental powers by destroying the table, utensils, and condiments. A fight then ensues when a group of truckers in the diner begin to insult Howard. Howard is captured and almost killed by the diner's chef, but the Dark Overlord destroys the diner and escapes with Beverly. Howard locates Phil, who is currently under arrest for his presence at the laboratory with no security clearance. After Howard helps Phil escape police custody, they discover an ultralight aircraft, which they use to search for the Dark Overlord as well as Beverly. Meanwhile, at the laboratory, the Dark Overlord plans to transfer another of his kind into Beverly's body with the Dimension Machine. Howard and Phil arrive and seemingly destroy the Dark Overlord with an experimental neutron disintegrator. But the creature is merely forced out of Jennings' body and now attacks them in his true form. Howard fires the neutron disintegrator at the hideous beast and obliterates him. Howard then destroys the laser spectroscope, preventing more Dark Overlords from arriving on Earth, but also ruining his only chance of returning to Duckworld. Our movie ends with Howard becoming Beverly's manager, hiring Phil as their employee to help out on tour, and performing with Cherry Bomb on stage. Going back and revisiting this film some years later, okay, it came out in 1986. I would have been about 10 years old, depending on the month of release, 9 or 10. I can see why I enjoyed this as a kid. You've got a duck that's the lead character. You've got fight scenes. You've got space travel, other worlds. You know, I could kind of get why I enjoyed this as a kid. Sitting back and watching it now, holy crap, was this bad. I mean, when Howard is being sucked into outer space, he goes crashing through other ducks' apartments in his easy chair. One of the apartments, we see a female duck in the bath with duck boobs. Literally. Didn't realize this as a kid. Didn't think anything of it. Looking back on it now, holy hell, what was that doing in this film? Leah Thompson. Love Leah Thompson. Obviously, best known to my generation as Lorraine Baines McFly, Marty's mother, and her other assorted characters within the Back to the Future franchise. Always playing some form of a McFly matriarch. But seeing her in this, crawling around half naked in her lingerie, okay. Like, I thought she looked amazing in her dress for the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. I can only imagine that this is what old Calvin Klein would have witnessed had he gone the whole distance with his then mother. Totally don't remember any of that. Just dumbfounded by what actually made it into this film that very much was geared towards children. You know, a lot of what made this film so bad is the fact that it was geared toward kids, and it very easily could have had a more Ted-esque tone and been a little bit more adult-oriented, and probably wouldn't have been as bad with some of the stuff that they snuck in here. But holy hell, you know, I hate to come off as sounding prudish because, you know, I'm a guy, I love women. Leah Thompson is gorgeous, don't get me wrong. I just didn't expect that. To see her on top of Howard, granted through shadows and silhouettes, kissing him like they're about ready to get down and get busy. No. The one thing that I will give this film is that, unlike her fictional son of Marty McFly, Leah Thompson actually does her own singing in this film during the cherry bomb scenes. Whereas we all know Michael J. Fox lip-synced for Johnny Be Good. So I will give her that. That was awesome. I actually looked into it, and when I found she did her own singing, I was like, all right. You know, was she going to have a career as the next pop star? Nah. Was she going to be the next Belinda Carlisle or Susanna Hoffs? No. But she held her own in the film, and that's what's important. You know, it didn't sound horrible. So kudos to Leah Thompson for that, because I did not know that she had that in her. But everything else in this movie is just bad. I will say this. If you have never seen Howard the Duck, you have to see it once. Just to get the full spectrum of how bad this film really is. If you've seen it before, you don't have to see it on my account. I don't want you coming back, blowing up my comment boxes saying, how dare you tell me to see Howard the Duck? In comparison to Daredevil, which has got a lot of crap, but I feel a lot of it isn't justified, Howard the Duck deserves the crap that it gets. That's the difference. When it comes to my rating of Howard the Duck, I'm not going to be so cold as to give it no stars, because I did give it a little compliment. It gets 1 out of 5 stars. I think this is the lowest I have rated a movie yet here on the channel. I would need somebody to actually go back and look into that. But 1 out of 5 stars for Howard the Duck. Because I do enjoy Leah Thompson. I thought she did good as Beverly, and like I said, the fact that she sang her own, performances, I give her credit for. Jeffrey Jones is an actor that I really, really enjoyed in the 80s, but his personal life has taken such a downhill slope here in the last 20 years. Best known to me as Principal Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But Jeffrey Jones was a great character actor in the 80s. I highly recommend you look him up. But seeing him as Jennings and the Dark Overlord as the universe, I didn't mind him so much. But really, like I said, those are the only high spots for me. 1 out of 5 stars. What do you guys think of Howard the Duck? Those of you that are tuning in watching the premiere, let me know. Leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. But whatever you do, when you get out there on the social media, let's get those hashtags trending. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course, the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag StatBoyApproved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today.
Make sure you guys do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade JJ Williams shirt, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Stat Boys Sports Bar, hashtag Statboy Approved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official merchandise of the Jeff Meacham Network, 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo for you to choose from, along with Talk Wrestling, Meachamania, so much more. You know, summertime, barbecue, pool parties, beach bonfires. Go to the Teespring store, score yourself a tank top. You can choose between the Renegade JJ Williams or Meachamania. Either one is the perfect accessory for those hot summer days and those hotter summer nights. Get out there, show your love and support. While you're showing your love and support, do what that ticker tells you to do. Do you enjoy my videos, my daily content? If so, go to that PayPal. Send me a couple buck donation. Or if you don't want to send money, go to that link tree. Click on the link for my Amazon movie wish list, select a movie. Constantly updating the movie list. When it comes, I will open it live on Renegade Recap, as I always do, give you guys a shout out. And when I work it into one of my monthly themes, sit down, watch it, review it, give you another shout out. Keep in mind, everybody, I'm not monetized, so the only way you're going to be able to support me right now until I get enough viewership hours up to where I can become monetized is if you go to one of those 2 links and show me a little bit of love and support. Support me, and I'll show you some love and support back. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, for another brand new installment of Renegades Review, when I dive into 1995's Mallrats, starring Shannon Doherty, Jeremy London, Jason Lee, Claire Forlani, Ben Affleck, Joey Lauren Adams, Renee Humphrey, Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith, Ethan Suplee, Stan Lee, Priscilla Barnes, and Michael Rooker. Now, some of you may wonder, who've been seeing the trailer for next month, some of you may be familiar with Kevin Smith's Viewisk Universe films, and you may wonder why I'm doing Mallrats before I do Clerks. It's because of the timeline. Much like how we did the MCU in chronological timeline order, even though Clerks was shot, released before Mallrats, Mallrats actually takes place before Clerks. The central event of the first 3 films is the death of Julie Dreyer. In Mallrats, we discover in the beginning that Julie Dreyer passed away the night before the events of the movie. In Clerks, they closed down the convenience store to go to her wake, her funeral, which is obviously going to be a couple days later after, the day after she died. So that's why those are the way they are. And then Chasing Amy takes place 2 years after the death of Julie Dreyer. And then from there, she doesn't really get mentioned anymore in the Viewisk universe. But the other movies take place post Chasing Amy. So those go as normal. But like I said, even though Clerks was released prior to Mallrats, Mallrats actually takes place a day or 2 before Clerks. So that's why I'm doing that way. To all my loyal fans and viewers out there tuning in, watching the premiere, leaving your thoughts and comments over here, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. All my loyal fans and viewers out there tuning in a little bit later in the day, watching on demand, leaving your thoughts and comments down here. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of my loyal fans and viewers out there that tune in on a regular basis and enjoy the show. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.